we've got another interesting question, which is about if you secure this new top-level domain, the transition that you're going to be faced with. Certainly, if you are planning to use that as your public, your customer-facing string going forward. So, can some of you guys talk about strategies for transitioning from your .com, if that's what you have now, to your .brand URLs? Avoiding dead links, forwarding any links that you already have sort of out and communicated, etc. Anyone want to take a stab at that?
I can just talk a little bit from experience of that transitioning. Our Deloitte.com domain, where we previously had different iterations of it in the early 2000s, and obviously those can be challenging. I think we had Deloitte.com or something at one point. That was a primary US domain. You have to deal with those things. I imagine most people are going to probably want to run these things in parallel and use a lot of redirects to eventually drive people to the new .brand. But you also have to deal with search engine optimization as well, and submit new site maps.
Kind of redirect.
So it's not a simple approach, and if you've got very complex web architecture, it's going to take a lot more time.
Other thoughts on that, perspectives? Really?
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is a contrarian point of view, but I would suggest that you not abandon your current major website, be it an info or a com or whatever. It takes consumers a really long time to change their habits. Anybody that spent time in the consumer products business knows that getting awareness of a product, getting understanding of the benefits, getting desire for the product, purchase, use, reuse, and so forth, is a very long process. I mean, we've introduced 6 TLDs now. And I can tell you that even .info, which was introduced in 2000 and has now been live on the internet for 11 years, there are still websites I go to where I type in my .info email address and it says it's an invalid address because it's still stuck in the original 7 TLDs that were out there. And that process is going to take place long into the future. There are still people who aren't really familiar with what .info is all about. And as new things come in, there's lack of familiarity. Lack of familiarity is going to breed distrust. Distrust is going to take a long time to overcome. I have to say, I think the .brand new TLDs that are coming out have a lot better chance at faster success and acceptance in the community than the .generics that are coming out, like .sports and .this and that, because there's already an underlying level of trust in the brand. People already know who Coke is, and I think they'd be more willing to accept a .coke and the campaigns that go around .coke than they're going to be to go to .sports, which they're totally not familiar with. So the transition should take a long time. I would suggest that you keep what you have in place. If it's working, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But here's an opportunity now to move to another platform in the future that you can evolve to with a very deliberate plan, and I think can strengthen the brand over time.
And I think part of, just in agreement on that, part of the transition plan could include what kinds of certain new business models and services you're interested in incubating in this new environment. And that might be one way to separate it, because it is very hard if you have, especially if you're one of the more popular websites on the web, to just cut over it or to just redirect doesn't really create a satisfying customer experience, which frankly will be one of the most important parts of that impacts your brand. I do think there are going to be some brands out there that are going to do this, and it's going to be mind-blowingly complex. An example that I've been thinking a lot about recently is, let's face it, Facebook. The impact of that on the web. Social media is already draining portal traffic and surpassing portal traffic. It's going to be pretty profound. And so how a company like Facebook will transition to the .brand, because for me, I can't imagine they wouldn't do it. It's just a no-brainer for them. So how would someone like that
actually less control over you? If you were Coke.Facebook, then currently you're Facebook.com/Coke. They actually control everything about your page, not just the ability to sort of turn it on and off. I mean, it'd be a very interesting strategic move for them. It would set up a whole different kind of relationship, I think.
And those are the kinds of opportunities. that get created
They're
by
gonna take over the
thinking
whole
big.
internet.
Why not?
It's a great question. Why not?
Well, I think one of the key things there, really, about, you hear this a lot from the domainers who are thinking about this space. One of the key things is, are you going to be independent of the Facebook terms of service?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Because this is, you get to set your terms of service. You're not vulnerable to other people's terms of service. And you actually look at the degree, you look at the history of Facebook, the degree things changed on Facebook and what's been launched and stopped and launched and whatever. It's a very interesting. This is other people. I hear this conversation a lot.
Because I think it falls into the.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Carl, and then we'll move to this next question. Okay.
The more trafficked and used websites, the more complex it is. And if you're a small business that wants to radically transform your brand, compete and differentiate in your category, but maybe you're not one of the top 50 websites, this may present a new way to do it. And so when you were talking about transition strategy, for that kind of company, it may be a much more aggressive plan than an Amazon or a Google or a Microsoft.
You're really using this differentiation to launch the brand or certainly ramp up much greater awareness.